As the sun dipped below the horizon, the vast expanse of the ocean transformed into a canvas of deep blues and purples reflecting the fading light. The gentle lapping of waves against the ship's hull created an almost hypnotic rhythm, a lullaby that belied the danger lurking beneath. Twilight cast long shadows across the water, and an unsettling stillness settled in as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation. The horizon was a thin line where sea met sky, but tonight it felt different, charged with an unspoken tension. The air was thick with salt and mystery, whispering tales of long-lost sailors and mythical creatures that haunted these very waters. Tales of the Kraken had been shared around campfires and taverns for generations, but tonight those stories seemed to echo with a new urgency. The crew, seasoned mariners who had braved storms and tempests, now found themselves glancing uneasily into the inky depths below. Their ship, the Sea Serpent, had been built for exploration, its sturdy wooden frame gliding smoothly over waves that danced like wraiths under the twilight sky. But as night fell, an almost palpable shift occurred. A heaviness settled over both ship and crew. It was as if some ancient force stirred beneath them, awakening from its slumber. The captain stood at the helm, his weathered face lit by a flickering lantern that struggled against encroaching darkness. He knew all too well that legends often held a kernel of truth, stories spun by frightened minds or perhaps by those who had encountered something far beyond their comprehension. His grip tightened on the wheel as he scanned the horizon for any signs of trouble, yet all he saw was a tranquil sea that belied an imminent storm. As clouds began to gather overhead, darkening the sky like an impending shroud, an uneasy feeling crept through the crew. They exchanged wary glances, laughter faded into nervous chuckles as they recalled the fables told in port towns, the tales of ships swallowed whole by monstrous tentacles dragging them into unfathomable depths. Though calm reigned on the surface, deep down in those shadowy waters lay something ancient and powerful, a presence waiting to be awakened from eons of slumber. Tonight could be their last voyage, they could already feel it in their bones. The Sea Serpent was a magnificent vessel gleaming under the fading light, with its tall masts and taut sails reaching skyward. Crafted from the finest oak, her hull had weathered countless storms, each scar telling a story of survival. As she sliced through the waves, the robust ship embodied adventure and possibility, drawing a diverse crew eager to explore the uncharted waters ahead. Captain Elias Morrow stood at the helm, his silhouette framed against a canvas of golden clouds. With salt and pepper hair and eyes that sparkled with a seasoned confidence, he was a man who had spent more years at sea than on land. His unwavering spirit inspired loyalty in his crew, a band of misfits and dreamers bonded by the lure of discovery. Each held their own set of skills, from Thomas, the navigational expert whose precise maps guided them through perilous waters, to Alara, the ship's botanist, her curiosity about new plant life matching only her indomitable bravery. As night fell, camaraderie filled the air, laughter and shouts mixed with the sound of creaking wood and fluttering sails. They shared tales of exploits, memories of breathtaking sunsets over foreign shores and encounters with elusive creatures beneath the waves. A sense of wonder thrummed in their hearts as they ventured into territories spoken of only in folklore. Yet amid their revelry lingered an undercurrent of tension as they neared the infamous waters rumored to be plagued by ancient monsters. Though seasoned sailors were steeled against fear, occasionally they would catch glimpses of shadowy shapes beneath the surface or hear whispers that seemed to echo from the depths, stories of those who had sailed before them never to return. The stars began to twinkle overhead as they navigated toward uncharted islands said to be home to treasure and peril alike. But little did they know that fate had other plans. The sea felt alive beneath them, like a slumbering giant slowly stirring in its dreams. With every wave that lapped against their sturdy vessel, an unseen force watched from below. What started as an expedition into unknown horizons would soon weave their destinies with legends far darker than anyone aboard could have imagined. Their adventurous spirits propelled them forward. Little did they realize that lurking within those enticing depths was something ancient and insatiable, ready to awaken into reality. As night descended fully over the Sea Serpent, a palpable unease settled among the crew. The glossy surface of the ocean, once a comforting shade of deep azure, now appeared to shift unsettlingly, almost as if it were breathing. Unusual currents began to pull at the ship, subtly at first, but soon turning into strong eddies that tugged the vessel in different directions, disorienting Thomas as he studied his navigational charts. Whispers of concern floated through the air, with crew members exchanging nervous glances. "Something feels off," murmured Alara, her keen instincts honed from years of studying nature's rhythms. The gentle rocking had transformed into an unpredictable sway, and she peered over the edge of the ship, searching for signs of what might lie beneath. Then came the sightings, strange marine life breaking the surface in irregular patterns. Fish darted in frantic schools, their scales shimmering like silver flecks against the darkening water. But something larger lurked beyond their sight. Shadows moved ominously just beneath the surface, shapes too massive to be mere fish. The crew's laughter faded as they caught sight of these fleeting glimpses, silhouettes that seemed to vanish as quickly as they appeared. Captain Morrow stood at the helm, his brow furrowed in concentration. He felt it too, an ancient awareness gnawed at him, a reminder that they were intruders in a realm governed by forces beyond their understanding. As he scanned the horizon, dark clouds rolled overhead, blending seamlessly with the inky waters below. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. A sudden silence enveloped them, the kind that made the air feel electric and thick. The wind died down completely, leaving only an eerie stillness that heightened their senses. The crew's chatter subsided to hushed murmurs, even the usual sounds of creaking wood and rustling sails seemed muted. Then came a loud splash, a violent disturbance in the water that sent waves crashing against the hull. The crew sprang to attention, hearts racing as they strained their eyes against the darkness to see what had caused it. Fear settled like ice in their veins when they realized that whatever had emerged was not just a simple fish or whale, it was something far more sinister. The ocean felt alive around them, thrumming with energy and anticipation, hinting at the awakening of something ancient and powerful beneath their vessel. The warning signs were clear, they were venturing deeper into danger than they had ever imagined, and the legends of old were beginning to materialize in front of them. The stillness of the night shattered as the ocean's surface began to convulse, sending violent waves crashing against the sides of the sea serpent. Crew members clung to the rigging and the railing, eyes wide with terror as a deep, resonant rumble echoed from beneath the depths. It was as if the very heartbeat of the sea quickened, thrumming with a primal force that commanded their attention. Captain Morrow's instincts kicked in, he barked orders, urging his crew to secure themselves and brace for whatever was coming. The air thickened with tension, charged with an electric anticipation that seemed to swallow them whole. Suddenly, without warning, a massive tentacle broke through the surface, water cascading off its slick skin like rain falling from storm clouds. The creature rose slowly, its size unfathomable, each segment of its body undulated with menacing grace. The tentacle coiled and twisted, raking across the water with a thunderous crash that sent a spray of brine into the air. Gasps mingled with shouts of panic erupted from below deck as crew members scrambled to comprehend what they were witnessing. As if in response to their fear, another tentacle joined the first, surging upward like a tidal wave of destruction. The sheer power radiating from this ancient beast was overwhelming, it seemed to consume everything in its path. Elara's heart raced as she peered overboard, her scientific curiosity momentarily eclipsed by terror. She could see the creature's massive suckers glistening ominously in the dim light, each one strong enough to crush wood or flesh with ease. A shadow passed over their ship as more tentacles emerged, wrapping around the sea serpent like vengeful serpents seeking their prey. With a sickening lurch, the ship tilted perilously as one enormous appendage encircled its hull. The structure creaked and groaned under the strain, protesting against forces it was never designed to withstand. Captain Morrow shouted commands amidst the chaos, trying to rally his crew against despair as they fought against being pulled into the abyss. As water churned around them and darkness enveloped all but the monstrous silhouette above, they realized they were trapped in an ancient battle between man and myth. The Kraken had risen from its slumber not merely to defend its domain but to reclaim what was once taken, an entire ship swallowed into legend and nightmare. A roar of fury erupted from deep within the ocean depths as it prepared for its final assault on those who dared cross its path. Panic erupted aboard the sea serpent as the massive tentacles of the Kraken coiled around the ship, threatening to wrench it apart. The crew members, once filled with bravado and adventure, were now gripped by sheer terror as they scrambled to respond to the unfolding chaos. Captain Morrow's voice rose above the din, shouting orders that cut through the frantic atmosphere. "Man the harpoons. Get the sails down." Elara found herself gripping a nearby barrel, her heart racing as she watched Thomas rush towards the harpoon station with a determination that belied his fear. He fumbled with the equipment but managed to load one of the massive weapons. "I need cover," he shouted, glancing nervously at a flailing tentacle that cracked against the deck, splintering wood and sending crew members tumbling. Meanwhile, another crew member, Marcus, risked his life by darting across the slick deck to assist Thomas. They steadied their aim at a massive limb that thrashed perilously close to the ship, water spraying everywhere. With all his strength, Thomas pulled back on the harpoon's trigger and released it. The spear shot through the air, striking deep into the Kraken's flesh. A sickening roar erupted from below deck, shaking the entirety of their vessel. The creature writhed in pain, causing the sea serpent to lurch violently side to side. Crew members struggled to maintain their footing as panic intensified. Amidst this chaos, Elara spotted a fellow sailor, Ben, trapped beneath loose cargo that had overturned during the onslaught. Without thinking, she abandoned her post and raced over to him. "Hold on," she cried out, using all her strength to push away crates while shouting for help from others nearby. As if sensing their defiance, another tentacle lashed out in fury, catching Ben and Elara off guard. They barely dodged its grasp as it crashed down onto the deck with a sound like thunder. The remaining crew armed themselves with whatever they could find, axes, swords, anything that might prove useful against this formidable opponent. Each encounter breathed life into their desperation. Every moment was a testament to their bravery. A mixture of shouts filled the night air, cries of fear and encouragement as they rallied together in defiance of an unimaginable threat. But deep down, everyone knew that even united, they faced a creature born from nightmares. Yet within that shared fear flickered a spark of resolve, the determination not just to survive, but to fight back against this ancient predator who dared confront them in their quest for adventure. Time seemed suspended as they engaged in this fierce battle for their lives against a terror that none had anticipated or prepared for. The air was thick with desperation as the crew of the Sea Serpent fought against the Kraken's relentless assault. Each member faced their own harrowing challenge, forced to confront not only the ancient monster but also their own fears and doubts. Elara had found herself back at the cargo hold where chaos reigned as men scrambled to free themselves from debris. Guided by instinct rather than reason, she pulled and heaved beside her crewmates, her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. Just as she set her sights on a heavy crate that trapped another sailor, a tentacle lashed narrowly past her, splintering the wood beside her. Fear threatened to paralyze her, but instead it ignited a fierce determination. "We have to work together," she shouted, summoning all her strength to push with others until they finally freed Ben. Meanwhile, at the bow of the ship, Thomas had taken charge of loading harpoons alongside Marcus. They worked in synchrony, their movements fluid as they aimed for the flailing tentacles that towered above them. As Marcus steadied their aim, he felt a surge of courage fuel his resolve. "On three," he called out. 1, 2, 3. The harpoon shot out like an arrow, striking true into a massive appendage of the beast. A pained roar reverberated through the air, shaking them to their core but also fortifying their spirits. Back at the helm, Captain Moreau surveyed the terror unfolding around him as he barked orders with unwavering authority. "Focus on that tentacle. Ready your axes?" With each command delivered with fierce conviction, he inspired his crew to look beyond their fear and take action. He witnessed Elara's bravery and Thomas's determination. It ignited something within him, a burning desire to protect his crew at all costs. Just then, a colossal shadow loomed over him as another tentacle threatened to slam onto the deck. Without thinking, he dove towards Thomas and Marcus. "Get down," he yelled just as it struck with bone-rattling force. The impact knocked him off balance and threw him against the railings, but it saved them. Through the din of screams and crashing waves, each crew member exhibited extraordinary bravery when faced with imminent peril. Working together despite their individual fears gave them strength in numbers. Their desperate struggle illuminated an undeniable bond among them that transcended mere camaraderie. It was a fierce commitment to one another's lives. As they fought tooth and nail against this ancient predator threatening their very existence, what began as a rush of panic transformed into acts of courageous heroism and ultimate sacrifice. A blazing testament to human resilience in the face of insurmountable odds. Each interaction forged an unbreakable unity among them, defenders against darkness warding off despair as hope flickered like firelight in turbulent seas of dread. As the battle raged on, the Sea Serpent trembled under the weight of chaos and despair. The air was thick with the stench of salt and fear, mingling with the cries of the crew as they grappled with their impending doom. In a sudden surge of ferocity, the Kraken tightened its grip around the ship, muscles rippling beneath its slick skin as it prepared to drag them into the abyss. The deck heaved violently as dark waters churned around them, sending waves crashing over the sides like monstrous fists pounding against their fragile vessel. Captain Moreau fought to maintain his footing, his heart pounding in sync with the ship's distress. "Hold steady," he shouted, but even his voice trembled against the overwhelming roar of nature and fear enveloping them. With a bone-shaking lurch, one colossal tentacle coiled tighter around the hull, splintering wood beneath its immense strength. Crew members were thrown from their feet, desperately grasping at railing and rigging to avoid being hurled into the depths. Elara found herself clinging to a rope as icy water surged over her ankles, rising quickly like a predator stalking its prey. "Help! I can't hold on," cried Marcus, his fingers slipping from a nearby beam as another tentacle struck, the sound akin to thunder echoing against stone. Without hesitation, Thomas lunged forward, grabbing Marcus by his arm just in time. Together they struggled against the watery tide. As panic swept through them like wildfire, more tentacles erupted from below, battering the ship mercilessly as if it were nothing more than driftwood in a storm. The sounds were deafening, cracking wood, shouts mingled with screams, and desperate pleas for survival filled the night air. In those moments of chaos, every crew member fought against their fate with an instinctive courage that only desperation can invoke. The ocean swelled higher around them, swallowing all semblance of hope in waves of despair. Water cascaded over deck and rigging while darkness loomed like an imminent shroud, a metaphorical grave awaiting those who dared challenge this ancient terror. The sea serpent creaked in protest as it began its descent, each moment felt stretched within an eternity of dread. In those fleeting seconds before impact with unfathomable depths, Captain Moreau looked around at his crew, eyes wide with fear but shining with determination. They were not just sailors caught in a fight for survival, they had become warriors against an ancient nightmare that had awakened from slumber. As they sank lower into darkness accompanied by despair's chilling embrace, they realized their struggle was not merely for themselves, it was for each other and for everything they had ever dreamed of beyond these cursed waters. And just as hope began to dim beneath swells of panic and sorrow, they braced themselves for what lay ahead, holding tightly to courage forged in friendship even as they plunged into darkness deeper than nightmares could ever fathom. The chaos that had gripped the sea serpent abruptly fell silent, replaced by an eerie stillness that enveloped the ocean like a heavy shroud. The violent thrashing of waves was now absent, leaving only the gentle lapping of water against the remnants of the ship, a haunting reminder of what had been. The moonlight cast a ghostly glow over the surface, illuminating only ripples where moments before there had been turmoil and desperate cries for survival. As the cold water settled, it claimed the wreckage of the sea serpent, slowly drawing it into its depths. Fragments of wood floated like memories lost in the vast expanse, broken pieces swirling around in an ocean that seemed indifferent to their sacrifice. A few scattered belongings bobbed on the surface, personal items that once had life and meaning, now mere debris in a world that had turned quiet. Beneath those calm waters lay secrets untold, where darkness concealed lost souls who had fought bravely against an unimaginable terror. Each sailor who had stood against the Kraken now sank into the abyss, their courage and camaraderie faded with them like whispers carried away by a distant breeze. The ocean absorbed their struggles, intertwining their fates with its ancient history, an eternal cycle of life and death. The stillness was profound, as if nature itself paused to honor those who had perished. A solitary fish flickered through the dim light beneath, oblivious to the tragedy above while shadows danced among darkened corners. Life continued below while above, only silence prevailed. In this moment of resignation, reflections twisted within each ripple, the glimmering sheen revealing glimpses of hope shadowed by despair. Memories haunted those waters, laughter exchanged among friends replayed amid soft waves lapping against one another. Yet even in this peace, dread lingered, a constant reminder that such tranquility could be disrupted at any time. Even as night deepened, stars blinked above with indifference marking time's passage. The sea remained timeless, an ever-changing entity where past encounters faded into legend, stories to be whispered around campfires by future sailors who would warn against sailing too close to these haunted waters. As dawn approached on the horizon, a new day waited patiently beyond this calamity, a promise unspoken yet lurking just out of reach for those who dared to tread these depths again. The Kraken might have claimed its prize tonight, but somewhere within those dark waters lay echoes of bravery unfading, testaments to humanity's indomitable spirit resting forevermore beneath ocean waves now calm again after chaos reigned. As the sun rose over the tranquil sea, its rays pierced through the remnants of a night filled with terror, casting a bright light on waves that now seemed eerily calm. Yet, the ocean's surface concealed deep scars, both physical and emotional, that would remain etched in the memories of those who dared to traverse its depths. Though the sea serpent had vanished, the legend of its fate endured, woven into the fabric of maritime folklore that sailors would recount for generations. The tale of the Kraken grew in stature, transforming from mere myth into a cautionary reminder of nature's untamed power. Whispered among crew members in dimly lit taverns and shared around flickering campfires, the stories took on lives of their own, morphing into vivid accounts of monstrous tentacles and heroic struggles. Sailors spoke in hushed tones of the fateful voyage, embellishing details to evoke awe and terror alike, ensuring that the memory of those lost at sea would not fade with time. Every sailor who set out into uncharted waters carried with them a piece of this legend, a somber respect for the unknown lurking beneath. The Kraken became more than a creature, it was a symbol of the ocean's capricious nature, a reminder to approach the sea with reverence and caution. As ships navigated through fog-laden waters, tales of the beast echoed in their minds. Could the Kraken be watching? Could it rise again? The uncertainty fueled their imaginations, shaping their journeys with an exhilarating blend of fear and wonder. On stormy nights, when the wind howled and thunder rumbled above, seafarers would clutch their talismans and recite incantations meant to ward off evil, invoking the spirits of lost sailors as they navigated treacherous waters. The legend served as both a warning and a source of inspiration, a testament to human resilience against chaotic forces beyond comprehension. With each retelling, the story grew richer, layered with lessons about bravery, sacrifice, and loyalty forged in desperate times. Although the sea serpent had been claimed by the abyss, her memory lived on through those who sailed after her, ensuring that her legacy would never be forgotten. In the heart of every sailor continued to beat the pulse of the sea, a force both beautiful and terrifying, where legends like that of the Kraken thrived eternally within its depths. As the tales of the sea serpent and the Kraken drifted through time, they reminded all who sailed the vast oceans of the delicate balance between adventure and peril. The sea, with its shimmering surface and hidden depths, remained an enigma, beautiful yet treacherous, inviting yet dangerous. To venture into its embrace was to embrace uncertainty, a dance with the unknown that often blurred the line between discovery and disaster. For generations, sailors would gather to recount stories of bravery and sacrifice, interwoven with the haunting refrain of those lost to the depths. Each retelling became a thread in the rich tapestry of maritime lore, instilling a sense of wonder but also a deep respect for the mysteries that lay beneath. The ocean's depths whispered secrets only it could understand, holding untold treasures alongside unspeakable terrors. As ships set sail into uncharted waters, a palpable tension filled the air, a reminder that every adventure carried with it risks that could alter lives forever. The Kraken was no longer just a creature of myth, it had become a symbol of nature's unpredictable wrath, a force to be reckoned with and respected. The stories served as cautionary tales, urging sailors to remain vigilant against the whims of the sea and to honor the spirits of those who had faced its fury before them. In quiet moments aboard their ships, as stars twinkled overhead and waves lapped gently against the hull, sailors would pause to reflect on their own journeys. They pondered not only their aspirations for exploration but also the fragility of life itself. The vastness of the ocean mirrored their innermost thoughts, both vast and unfathomable. With every crash of a wave or gust of wind, there lingered the possibility of encountering something extraordinary or facing unimaginable peril. Ultimately, it was this duality, the thrill of adventure intertwined with the shadow of danger, that kept sailors returning to the sea. It was a world where dreams could take flight or be swallowed whole by darkness, where each voyage held potential for discovery but also whispered warnings from those who had come before. As they gazed into the horizon, they understood that sailing was not merely about reaching distant shores, it was about embracing the journey itself, alive with both mystery and risk. Through every tale shared under starlit skies, they honored those who had sailed before them while preparing to face whatever awaited them in the uncharted waters ahead. In this endless cycle of exploration and reverence, the legend of the Kraken would endure, a timeless echo in the hearts of all who dared to venture forth into the unknown.